Namaste everyone, thanks for watching this yoga class. So with this class we're going to focus on stretching away our worries, so something quite useful in this time. So let's start by just as always taking our mind away from the rest of the world. We're going to just sit down onto our heels or within our heels, and if you have a hard time with your knees and ankles, and if you have a block or something that resembles a block, something thick, you can slide it under so to support your buttocks to help lengthen the spine. So the key is to be here with the spine nicely open, shoulders down, and relaxing the hands onto your thighs. That's all I'm asking for at this stage, and it should be comfortable. We're gonna be here breathing for a little bit. So as always, let's start with the 2 deep breaths and 2 big sighs out, just to let go. We might really need it. Once more. It's beautiful. All right, so just taking our worries away, just nothing better than a little bit of pranayama, yoga breathing to start with. So let's just do something very simple, complete yoga breathing. If you're familiar with it, you can just do it as always. Otherwise, if you need a little bit of guidance, place one hand onto your abdomen, one onto your chest, and we are going to breathe in through the nose, starting with the relaxation of the abdomen, allowing the abdomen to fill first. And then you allow the upper hand to lift as you feel the rib cage all the way to the collarbones. And you exhale through the nose, first into your upper chest, middle of the chest, and finally your abdomen coming back towards the spine, squeezing out the air, and another cycle. It's like a wave, breathing in and out through the nose, long inhalations through the nose, led by the abdomen. Long exhalations through the nose as your air first empties the upper lungs and finishes off in the abdomen. A few cycles of this at your own pace. It should be nice and slow pace. Abdominal breathing is naturally linked to relaxation. So if you're feeling a little bit anxious, a little bit stressed, overwhelmed, just I recommend, even in your own time, in your own space, just sitting down and do abdominal breathing for like 10-15 minutes. And as you breathe, just focus on the breath, and your mind will sort of let go naturally and place you back into a relaxed state of mind again. So you can bring your hands back to your thighs if you are comfortable continuing the movement, the breath on your own. Complete yoga breathing is coming with a lot of additional health benefits, just releasing the tension in your chest and your abdomen. It's known to improve your digestion and improve your circulation. You can actually use it to help lower your blood pressure as well. But today we just want to focus on the calming effect of this breath, just watching that wave flowing in and leaving you through the nose. And this will naturally place you in the right space, the space you want to be in to practice yoga. Because yoga is really about awareness, self-awareness, awareness of your body, awareness of your mind, and then moving on to controlling the mind and becoming more deeply self-aware. But this is the starting point. So it's just really nice place to be. And in general, if you feel a little bit overwhelmed by the news, just take a break using this breath. And again, today we're gonna just focus a little bit more than usual on to stretching away our worries. So there will be a bit more stretching than usual. We will need to energize as well, because we will need the warmth to be able to do the stretches. So, and that happens after a bit of warm-up, but then majority of the class will be done on stretches, and mostly hip stretches, because we hold a lot of the stress in our hips, but also shoulder stretches. 2 more deep breaths. And with the next exhalation, we open our eyes again and bring the arms back down alongside the torso. If you feel pain in your ankles or knees, just lift up onto your knees directly. Otherwise, we're going to stay here for a little bit of a gentle warm-up to start with. Inhale with me. And as you exhale, leaving both shoulders down, you bring the left ear to the left shoulder. And you're going to stretch the right side of your neck, keeping that right shoulder down so both hands are just level in contact with the floor next to your feet. Inhale, back to neutral. Exhale, right ear to the right shoulder. Very gentle. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, chin to the chest. This time as we inhale, we swing that chin towards the left shoulder as we gazing down. You might meet some tensions and knots that we might want to linger on. And then back to center. And exhaling towards the right shoulder. Inhale, chin to the chest. And lift back to vertical neck. All right, so now fingertips to your shoulders. Let's do some broad shoulders rotation. So while we're doing this, we want the spine to be neutral, so we don't want to be bending or twisting with the spine. It's just the movement of the arms into the shoulders. Nothing else really is moving, so keeping those movements slow and broad. If you feel that there's any tightness, any uncomfortable sensations like clicks and grinding, just slow down, make the circles a little bit smaller, a little bit slower. And then we slow down, pause, and come back the other way. And we're just starting to create some gentle heat in the upper body. And 2 big circles, and now release. And we bring those arms back down, so we got a little bit warmth there. So let's now come up everyone onto our knees. And if you are sitting on a book or a blanket or a block, you just put that away for the time being. And we're coming onto our all fours, so the knees are under our hips and the wrists are under our shoulders. Spine should be neutral, so not arching nor rounding. So we're going to do a couple of spinal warm-ups as well. So press into the hands, spreading the fingers. We inhale to arch the spine, lifting the collarbone and the tailbone at the same time, stretching the torso. Exhale, we do the opposite. Now we round, create space between the shoulder blades, chin to the chest, and we get the stretch. That stretch for the shoulders and the spine all together. A few times, called cat-cow movements. And we go. Link it to your own breath. Inhaling to lift. Exhale to round and stretch. And here we come, another one. And then next time we just pause there, back to neutral, back to all four. We need to do a little bit of a twist as well. So we're going to inhale to lift the right arm up towards the ceiling. Gaze up at the top hand. As you exhale, bending the left elbow, you slide the right arm under the gap and you place the right shoulder and the right side of the face onto the floor. And once you're comfortable there, make sure you have no pressure in the neck. You inhale to lift the left arm up. So all this with the long open spine. So if you feel the spine is kind of compressing somewhere, you'll need to come up and redo it to lengthen, create a bit more space. And if you like, you can wrap the left arm around, your left hand can find the right thigh and just comfortably just feel it there. Inhale to bring that left palm back to where it was, pressing up onto it, and we're coming back to our all four, other side. Inhale, left arm up, gaze up at the hand. Exhale, thread it through, left shoulder, left side of the face, and I'm usually speaking temple, around the temple. And then inhale and lift the right arm up. Ideally, the top shoulder should come to be close to be on top of the bottom shoulder, so you're just really drawing back that top shoulder and arm. But you want to maintain even weight into both knees, so the tendency would be to just tilt onto one side. Try and counteract that if it's happening, if you're noticing it's happening. Your choice if you want to wrap around. breathing, still with complete yoga breathing, and I encourage you as much as possible to stay with complete yoga breathing throughout the class, and you'll get a lot more outcomes out of your class in terms of feeling better if you're breathing throughout, especially in poses that are a little bit tight, such as this one. You're going to end up giving your body a massage from the inside, which is kind of a nice thing to do that is not really easily achieved otherwise. And the right hand comes back to where it was, and we press up, and we're coming back to our all fours. We cross the ankles behind us and we come sitting, and then we stretch the legs forward. Now this pose is called Dandasana. It's just an L shape. Try and lengthen the spine here. Not so straightforward, but just show you how you want to be, what posture you want to be in yoga in general, with the spine being nice and long. So what we're going to do next, we're going to bring the arms on top of the legs, interlacing the fingers. Your hands will be on top of your shins or ankles or feet, depending how long your arms are. And then we start to do some broad circles there. And as you're doing the circles, you'll notice that if you're doing them a little bit too big, your feet might start to shift back and forth. We don't want really that to happen, so just narrow down the circle so that it can be a soft movement without any shifting and dragging. And as you're coming back, you'll notice that you'll recruit your deep abdominal muscle. Maybe you're not noticing it, but that's what it should be happening. And for that to happen, you need to maintain your spine nice and broad. So if the spine starts to curve and bend forward and round pretty much, then you won't get the effect that we aim for. So try and not come back too much if you feel that the spine is starting to round forward. Next time you come over the legs, you reverse, going the other way around. Imagine you're mixing a huge soup and you're just moving slowly because that soup is really thick. And again, just watch that lower back and watch those feet, and make the circles as big or as small as you like. And also watch out from not tilting from side to side. You might be shifting your weight from one hip to the other hip. You want to try to keep that weight level. It's really just that whole upper body that is rotating without affecting the lower body at all. And then we just slow down and pause, release. We bend the left knee and we place the sole of the left foot into the right inner thigh, close so that the heel is close to the groin, flexing the right ankle. We inhale to lift both arms up. Make sure that that spine is nice and long. Exhale, we hinge forward. So hinging in yoga means that we are not bending with the spine, we're bending at the hip creases, so the gap between the thigh bone and pelvis. So keeping the arms aligned with the spine is helping us to guide the movement in the right posture. So you can see that it's not easy to go too deep. Whenever you just hit the wall, you just lighten up on inhalation. Exhale, and you may be able to come down a little bit more. Your arms will tire, you can bring them to the floor, but now you know what you're supposed to be feeling here. It's just looking for a mild stretch for the back of that right leg without any rounding of the spine. And then we inhale to slowly come back to a vertical spine. Let's energize a little bit. Let's place the left hand behind the left hip, and then we roll onto the sole of the right foot, onto the left knee, and we lift up into a knee-supported side plank. Right arm goes up, pointing towards the sky. And then if you like, you can do some variations. You can, if you're feeling strong, step the left foot in front of the right, only as long as those hips stay nice and high. If you're collapsing with the pelvis towards the floor, you're straining with the lower back, which will not do you any good. Wherever you are, you can take the top arm overhead and you can find the top hand with your gaze. If you're shaking, again, your left shoulder might not have enough strength and you might want to keep that left knee on the floor. Wherever you are, make sure that on the next inhalation, the right hand comes to the right hip bone, the left knee comes back to where it was, and we find ourselves where we started. And then from here, we're gonna swap left leg straight and the right foot into the left leg. Again, same deal, lengthening and inhaling, exhaling to find that point where you cannot go any further easily without rounding the spine. Breathe, and with that breath, you will just slightly lift on the inhalations. Gravity on exhalation will allow you to come back a little bit more. Mindful that this is just the very start of the class, so that stretch should be really mild. So don't aim to go too deep. If you're going too deep, you might stimulate too much the stuff around your lower back and the back of your sacrum, the back of your pelvis. Inhale to come back to neutral and vertical. Right hand behind the right hip, and we roll up into a knee supported first, or without the knee. Side plank. So important to spread the fingers and press into the whole surface of the hand. Otherwise, your wrist will be taking too much tension. So make sure that you press into the bases of the fingers as well. And taking the top arm overhead, just find that top hand with the gaze. Breathing and keeping those hips nice and high. Not really too high, just nicely aligned with the rest of the body. Inhale, left hand to left hip bone. Bending the right knee if it's not on the floor, coming back to the floor. And now we bring the feet together and we have them together there. Let's try, and again, practice Dandasana. Inhale, lifting both arms up, L shape. Now let's turn this into forward fold. On exhalation, you just start to hinge forward. You see, with two legs straight, this is quite a bit harder to do without rounding. So you might not be able to bend much. In fact, most people are already at their limit when they are in the L shape already. But it's important to be aware of the feeling that you should be feeling as you're coming down into this pose. Your hands can come down, and if you've got the flexibility, you can, as you breathe in deep into the abdomen, allow that abdomen to feel your thighs, pressing into those thighs, and that's a nice soothing feeling there. And inhale and coming back to center where we started. A little bit additional cold warmth before we get going with the rest of the class. So let's bring the hands behind us. Actually, let's do a reverse plank while we're here. So the hands come behind us, but the fingers point towards the back of the pelvis. Feet together, and just making sure that we are spreading the fingers and pressing strongly into the hands. We inhale to lift pelvis off the floor, and we try to bring everything in alignment. Shoulders down, and looking down, you can see that your torso, your thighs, your shins are all into one plane. As you're working strongly with the spinal extensors in your glutes, just squeezing those glutes up as you're helping lift with those, and then we exhale to come back down to the floor, reversing the hands. Now they are pointing back, and we are placing the soles of the feet on the floor. We are inhaling to press into feet and hands to lift into a reverse tabletop. So now, unlike before, we have the hamstrings as well contribute to this, the glutes and the spinal extensors, making sure that the shoulders are down. Keep the chin to the chest still. There's no point in stimulating the neck at this point. Breathing in and lift a little bit higher. Exhale and sink to the floor, buttocks close to your heels. And then the hands, the forearms come onto the floor, and you lie down. Just a breath here, a bit of restorative breathing, and then we bring both knees into the chest, and we're going to activate those hips as well. So we're going to do frog leg circles. So we are going to spread the legs open and straight, and we bring the feet together, and then knees into the chest. And again, so this activates quite a few things, and not last is our core. So if you feel that you're a bit shaky, I suggest you stop and you place two hands under your pelvis, and that will just make it quite a bit lighter. And you start with the feet up high, and then you lower as you go. And as you go lower, you'll feel that there's more and more happening. And if that lower back wants to peel off the floor, that would be straining. Try and counteract that, or lift your feet up higher again. Next time the heels are into the chest, or the knees into the chest, you stop there, and then we're going to reverse. Feet forward, separate, and back into the chest. Going the opposite way. Also watch your hips. You are starting to move the hips, and you might just have been sitting down at your home office the whole day. Not much movement. You might feel a little click now and then, a little grinding. That's not uncommon. You don't want to overwork those hips if those are the feelings you get. So making those circles a little bit smaller and slower. And then as the knees come back into the chest, you squeeze them into the chest, allow the lower back to round, and just do 2 breaths here into the abdomen, reconnecting with complete yoga breathing. And then we are going to do some rolls along the length of the spine. And feet up and feet off the floor. And then we're going to, this time, pause halfway, feet off the floor. And we're going to be in the starting point for Navasana. So if your spine is rounding, try and lengthen it as much as possible and squeeze the abdomen towards the thighs. That will just kind of straighten up your spine a little bit. Okay, so you can be happy here, or you can go further if you like. And if you want to go further, make sure that your lower back doesn't start to round and take you back to the floor behind you too much. And you can extend your arms, lift your feet, or extend your legs fully, gazing between your big toes. And again, you need to maintain that strong, long posture without the spine rounding and taking you back to the floor. Big breath here. Exhale, bend the knees, and just resume those rolls. And then let's see how we go with taking a big roll and helping us with the hands if needed, coming up all the way standing. And we'll be finding ourselves around the top of the mat. If not there, just join me to come to the top of the mat. Let's practice a bit of Tadasana or mountain pose, the yoga way of standing. So rather than standing in a sloppy way, we're going to energize everything. Just lifting, so feet are hip width apart, lifting through the arches of those feet, energizing the inner lines of the legs, finding the pelvic floor and activating that, imagining going for a wee and stopping that wee halfway through. And shoulders down, arms down, palms facing each other. Imagine a force pulling you up from the crown of the head to make you gain another ½ centimeter of length or height. This is Tadasana, just quite an energized way of standing. You can close your eyes. Nice, we got a little bit of warmth, so it's a nice time maybe to take advantage of this concentration we're working on to do one balance. So let's do tree pose. So leaving the left foot where it is, we're going to inhale to bring the right knee up towards the chest, not too high. We don't want to be lifting the right hip, it's just the knee. Arms out to help you to stay balanced. Or if you have a wall or a column, something nearby, you might want to use that. And then you take that right knee out. So if you're not feeling pretty good at balancing today, you can just have the toes on the floor. Otherwise, you can have that sole of the right foot against the calf, or you can roll that calf out and place the sole of the right foot right up inside the left thigh. And then you can just make sure that those hips stay level with each other as much as possible. You can have your arms out for balancing, and you can bring the hands to prayer at the heart, breathing with complete yoga breathing. And you can lift those prayer hands overhead, and you can bring the tree to a bloom, V-shape in the arms, chin mudra, thumbs and index fingers, and just breathing. If you're feeling very good at balancing today, however, you can try and close your eyes. It's maybe easier to do it at home than at the park when the grass is a little bit soft under you, so I won't attempt it, but feel free to do it. Exhale, hands to prayer at the heart, microbend the left knee, and bring the right foot back to the floor, giving a shake to both of those legs. We're going to now balance on the other foot. Right foot, spread the toes, become aware of the balancing point of that foot, ball of the big toe, ball of the little toe, and the heel. Now arms up, and inhale to lift the left knee up, left knee out, and then variation of your choice for the sole of the right foot. And just allow gravity to bring that left hip down. Variation of your choice for the arms and the hands. Breathing. Concentration is essential for a balance. So just making sure that your mind stays with your breath. And that right leg is in Tadasana. So fully energized from the arches of the feet to the pelvic floor. You can gaze at a fixed point in the room, something that helps grab your mind and fix it to your space to allow your balance to happen. Exhale, hands to prayer at the heart, microbend the right knee and bring the left foot back down, giving a shake to both legs, separate the feet mat wide, and we're going to just swing from side to side to just let go. Nicely soothing, lifting one heel at a time to make it nice and safe to do these nice dynamic swings. And slowing down, bringing the feet back towards each other. And we're going to inhale to lift both arms up. Gentle back arch. Exhale, dive forward, bend the knees, hands to the floor. Take one foot back and then the other foot back, and we are in downward facing dog. So I'll do it sideways so you can see it a bit better. So you want to be at pretty broad distance between hand and feet, micro bending your knees initially so that you can focus on lengthening the upper body, arms, shoulders coming down, and the spine is long. And then you're compressing your abdomen towards your thighs. Breathe into that abdomen. And then if you're happy there with the long spine, then the posture is correct. You can work towards bringing the heels down. Mindful that if you are doing that effectively with the heels, it might have made you lose the shape of your upper body. So just watch out for that. And then from here, we're just coming back onto our knees. Without changing the position of our shoulders, we place the elbows on the floor and the forearms on the floor, interlacing the fingers there and tucking the toes. We lift the knees and we swing the hips back. Similar pose to downward dog, but this is dolphin. So it's similar, except that we are on the forearms. The head is off the floor. And then from here, shoulders forward, walking the feet back, bring the feet together. We come into low plank. If this is too hard, knees on the floor straight away. Otherwise, keeping them up and avoiding sinking for the lower back, and just separating those shoulders apart from each other, pressing strongly into the forearms and upper arms and to the hands. One more breath here. Exhale, release. Pelvis to the floor, reach back into the feet, separate the hands, and we come into the Sphinx looking pose. In fact, it's just called Sphinx. There's no energy as you start with, but you're going to energize it. So from the feet to the legs to the pelvic floor, and then pressing into the elbows and forearms. Inhale, and you're just going to arch back using every part of the spine, not just the lower back. Neck always stays in alignment with the upper spine. Breathing, shoulders down. Exhale, release. Separate the elbows, chin to the floor. Bring the hands under the shoulders, separate the feet, tuck the toes, press up to another downward facing dog. Okay, so let's walk the dog one more time. Giving a bit more stretching to the backs of those legs, stretching those arms, armpit area. And from here, we're going to inhale to lift the left leg up towards the ceiling, three-legged dog as high as you can. Feel the stretch in the back of the right leg. As you exhale, swing the left foot through to the front, plant it inside the left hand, and then place the sole of the back foot onto the floor at 90 degrees. We're gonna lift into a warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2, check that your alignment is heel to heel. Inhale, lift both arms up. The arms are level and strong, and you turn to gaze over the left hand. Check the position of the left knee, wants to track the left ankle. So you want to lift through the arches of both feet and press strongly into the soles of both feet, as if you want to spread those feet wider apart, but you can't because of the friction of the floor. And the shoulders are relaxed and are just over your hips. This is a hip opener as well, so just breathe and just watch what's happening to your inner hips with every breath, especially that left hip just opening up as we go. There's energy here, but there's also beautiful stretching and openness happening for your hip joint. And one more breath here. As you exhale, you lower both arms down and you turn the left foot in so that the feet are parallel to each other. And we're going to do a wide leg forward fold from here. So we're going to place both hands onto the thigh bones, and I'm going to turn sideways for better demonstration. And inhale deeply here, relaxing the whole spine. And as we exhale, we're going to hinge forward. Again, reminder, hinging forward means using the hip creases, that gap between the pelvis and the thigh bones as the hinge. And you just come down while you're exhaling, and then you pause on inhalation. And maybe you lengthen and lift slightly to regain that shape for the spine, long and extended. And as you exhale, you're going to be able to maybe find a little bit more room to come down at your own pace. There's no rush. This is really entirely up to your feeling. You just need to feel those hips opening up, and there's no need to go too fast here. If you're going too fast, what is most likely to happen is that your spine starts rounding, and then you get very little benefit from the pose. So it's just a wave, that breath, inhaling to lift, exhaling to allow you to come down a little bit further. You want to have that neck aligned with the spine, wherever, especially the upper part of the spine. The whole spine should be in a straight line anyway, following its natural curvature. So gentle arch back in the lower back. And then if the floor is within reach, you can bring the fingertips to the floor or onto a block so that you can get that support, rather than just holding it strongly up there with your core. And you keep breathing, and as you exhale, this should just feel beautiful. And if it feels like you're just over stretching, if it's painful, then you went beyond where it should be, just lift up a little bit higher. And if it's hard to be up there without any support, just pile up just a few books underneath your hands so that you can rest your hands onto something. And just a couple of more breaths, those stretchy ones. Don't feel shy here. You know who you are. You'll be down with your forearms or with the crown of the head onto the floor. Just mindful that if you're just rounding to come down to the floor quickly, you won't get the benefits here. And the benefit is really just that openness we get in the hip, the stretching, that feeling of relaxation that comes from forward folding. And then from here, everyone micro bends the knees to slowly inhale to lift up to wherever you can reach, to place your hands onto your thighs and slowly move into a vertical spine. If your feet are really wide apart, just bring them slowly a little bit closer to each other. And from here we are going to just turn to the other side. So we are going to turn the right foot now to the front of the mat, and we are coming to downward dog exactly on the other side. So you'll be gazing over your right hand now. Just check the alignment, heel to heel. Check the position of the right knee. Should be on top of the right ankle. If that knee goes further forward, that's not ideal. Just bring it back, and if you need, you can extend that pose. Most common mistake in that pose is for that right knee to just slack and knock in like that. So just try and rotate the that upper leg, that thigh outward to just create space inside that right hip and bring that right knee in alignment with the right ankle. breathing. The spine, the upper body is completely neutral. The arms are engaged though, pressing evenly into both feet. And then with the next exhalation, your torso turns towards the front and you swivel onto the ball of the back foot. And you're coming down with both hands to frame the back foot, and you step back into downward facing dog. One more time. So before we did three-legged dog, lifting the left. So we're going to inhale, lift the right leg up, three-legged dog. Feel the stretch behind your left. Try and reach up high. Exhale, swing the right foot through to the front. And then you step the left foot up as well. Knees are bent, and you just allow your upper body to melt down, surrendering. So from here we're going to finish off with a couple of totally surrendering poses. So let's first inhale to lift to halfway so that our back can be straight, and then exhale, coming back down, placing the fingers onto the floor, and from here coming onto your knees. We're going to, as I said, finish off with two poses. You might want to have, actually, rather than the block, a bolster or a blanket would be better. We're going to practice supine Varasana first. So first in Varasana, you just sit in between your heels, and just as a suggestion, you can take that calf flesh and muscle outwards, out of the way, so that you can better rest your glutes down onto the floor. If you're at a distance between the glutes and the floor and you got discomfort in your knees, then you clearly are not suitable for this pose at this stage, and you really need to lift up. So I suggest to put something ideally soft underneath your buttocks to just lift them up, and you'll feel how you can hold it a lot nicer. So from here we're just going to try and recline down, coming into the supine version of the pose. So if you're already feeling pain in this position, you might not be able to come down very far unless you lift up quite a bit. And if you lift up quite a bit, then it's not ideal to come back. So, but let's just start by placing the hands behind the feet and starting to recline down. And as you recline down, you don't want to arch your back, you just want to lengthen the front of your legs, and you slowly start coming down. So your forearms might be able to come to the floor, and if you are happy with flexible hips and long hip flexors and stretchy quads, you might be able to just lie down on the mat. But just watch that if you have a big gap such as this between the back and the floor, if you just place your head to the floor, you're going to arch back. That's not what we're trying to do here. That will strain your lower back. So just get to a point where you feel comfortable, and if you're comfortable coming all the way down, that's great. You really need to be relaxed and feel good, and if you're there, you can even release your arms. You can even bring them overhead, and then you breathe and surrender. So a version suitable for you is available, and it just might need to be up here, or if you're lucky, or if you're practicing enough, you can come all the way down, just as long as you're not straining your back. So you want to really have comfortable knees and comfortable spine here. And also, if you like, and if you're at the gap and you feel tired with your arms, you can place a soft blanket underneath your spine, following the length of the spine, and then rest over it, or a bolster if you have one. There's the classic surrender pose. And as we inhale, everyone places the forearms onto the floor and press up onto those, and then onto the hands. And we come back to our Varasana, walking the hands forward, and then tucking the toes as you walk the feet back, moving back to downward dog. Now you'll know exactly how to find the right stance for the down dog. Long spine, long arms, and low shoulders. All right, so to finish off the last set of poses, we're going to inhale to lift the right leg up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, the right knee comes inside the right thumb. Something like that. So your right foot might be just in front or just under the left hip. So that's great. If you're quite flexible with your hips, you can take that left foot and bring it further forward, but not many are able to actually get that. And if you're trying to do that and you don't have that flexibility, that right foot will just slide back to be under the left hip. So rolling the calf muscle up and out would also help to create a bit more space. Just shuffling that back foot back, come onto your fingertips here and just take a deep breath to just set into the pose. You want to have that right hip level with the left. Most commonly, people will tend to just tilt over to the right. So if that's happening to you, just slide something soft under that right hip to give it some support. Next exhalation, you start to hinge forward, and that will compress that right hip, and with it you start to pull onto the rotator muscles there. So if you're not used to this, it might feel a little bit weird, and just you don't want to feel pain. So you want to feel that everything is happening slowly and gently. So if this is already too much, stay up onto your hands. And if you can go further instead, you can just continue to melt down until your forehead reaches the floor. And at this point, you can just relax and surrender, and you have your arms overhead, or you can rest your forehead onto your wrists or onto double fists, whichever you find comfortable. And you just breathe in. The wave of your breath will just compress the abdomen into the inner hip, and gravity, your weight will just do the trick. So nothing that you can do at this stage anymore except to feel your body, and if that right hip is screaming for help, if it's this too much for you, just lift up higher, and that's going to solve it. It's called pigeon pose, and it's just a nice stretcher and opener for the rotators of your right hip. Inhale, lift your gaze up, press onto your hands and walk them back in. Tuck the toes in the back foot and slowly lift the left knee and step back, right foot next to the left, and walk the dog just for to re-establish comfort there as we squeeze things quite a bit with that pose. I'm going to demonstrate the other side forward so that it might be clearer what the position of that knee is. We're going to inhale to lift the left leg up towards the ceiling, three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee inside the left thumb, and then you descend here. Just shuffle and walk the back foot back and come onto the top of the back foot. Again, helpful to move that calf muscle forward, and position of the left foot naturally would end up being under the right hip, but if you are very flexible, you can bring it forward up to the point that your shin is parallel to the short edge of your mat. Coming up onto your fingertips and feeling proud with the chest. Ideally, you want to maintain that length in the spine as we're coming down. That goes for every pose where we are hinging forward. And obviously at the very end of the pose, we're just melting down. You just let go and just let gravity do the rest. But as you move into the pose, it's important to maintain that length. Exhale. And come to the variation of your choice of the sleeping pigeon. Nice and relaxing, just resting your forehead onto your double fist. That's a light way of practicing, or just bringing your forehead to the floor and moving to variation of your choice. One variation that I didn't describe the first time is to place the left shoulder onto the floor on the left side of the face, and then moving the right arm on top of the left, and that will squeeze it quite a bit more. Don't do it if it's painful. Remember, every yoga pose should feel good and should make you feel better as you practice it. Breathing. This was the last asana for this class. We're going to be moving into a guided relaxation soon with a sample of meditation coming up. So just take advantage of this surrender pose to just let your body slow down and relax completely. Naturally, this surrender pose will allow your heartbeat to come down, your breath will be less labored. and you'll get ready for relaxation. So we're going to bring the hands in as we inhale to lift back to where we started. We tuck the toes of the back foot and we just move back to downward facing dog. We need to walk the dog one last time to just even out the two hips. And then from here we lower down, knees to the floor, cross your ankles behind, come and sit onto the mat, and from there let's lie down and let's relax. Moving into Shavasana, the pose of the corpse. So best way to move into Shavasana is to slowly allow your body to lie flat onto the mat. And you want to just have a good gap between the 2 feet. The 2 feet are just letting go and coming down either side. Check that your pelvis is happy, just doing any jiggles and readjustment as you need. Resting the arms at an angle from the torso with the palms facing the ceiling. Readjusting your neck and shoulders for maximum comfort. And at this point, you are expected to stay there still. And this is really easier said than done. It's not easy to be still in any stages of our existence, even during our sleep. But here we are just trying to do that through a little bit of guided relaxation of the body and a little bit of mind control. So just watch your breath first and notice how every inward breath allows your abdomen to expand slightly, and that relaxes you. And every outward breath is very slow, very long through the nose and allows every tension to dissipate in your body. Your eyes are softly closed. Your worries, excitement, and stress and mind chatter for the day is slowly becoming less relevant and staying away from your mind. You're guiding your mind onto your body, just watching the body and how it's feeling. You're going to breathe, and as you breathe, you move from your feet up the body, and with every exhalation, you just gently allow each body part where you feel a little leftover tension to relax, melt down, and feel heavy onto the floor. Relaxing your knees, relaxing your legs, your thighs and hamstrings, relaxing your hips, and letting go of the spine, just taking your mind from your lower back to the middle back to the upper back. Relaxing your shoulders, feeling your arms lying heavily on the floor. Relax your neck. Let go of any facial expression. Let go of your jaws. Relax your eyelids. And just savor the beauty of sitting within a completely relaxed body. And if you're just doing nothing at this point, the most likely thing to happen is that that mind chatter wants to grab the attention back and just stray you away. And we don't want that, because we want to just keep enjoying this process, and we want to also allow the mind to let go and relax. So the safest thing to do is to concentrate, and the easiest place to bring that mind is to concentrate on your breath. Just watching your body breathing, inhalation and exhalations, as you let go completely, and you enable a little bit of mind control, keeping the mind within your control rather than allowing it to escape wherever it wants. And this is the easiest way to prepare for meditation, which is going to happen soon. A couple of more breaths. Over to you. And then we're going to need to reawaken softly so that we can come soon into a seated posture for meditation. We want to still keep the mind calm and focused, so just keep that mind onto the breath, but we're gonna start to introduce gentle movements into fingers and toes, into the neck, stretching your legs, stretching your arms, bending the knees, squeeze them towards the chest, allowing the lower back to round, feeling the comfort, rolling onto one side into recovery, resting your head onto your lower arm, knees bent, and at your own pace, when you're ready, coming back up, sitting, to finish off with the sample of mantra meditation. The mantra is going to be Om Hari Om, so it's a chant, so I chant it to you, you chant it to me, and this is called Kirtan, and it's been done for thousands of years, so just bathe your mind into the sound as much as possible. Your turn. My turn. Om Hari Om. Your turn. Thanks for following. Namaste.